Peggy Jacques. I'm the Executive Director and founder of Graceland Center for Purposeful Aging. Take a look around you and look at this room, ladies and gentlemen. If you don't have goosebumps, I do. You have chosen to make your most precious resource, your time, to come and to learn and to participate and engage in how to help Peoria bring a center for older adults here in Peoria. And I am so proud and thankful of you. Gathered here today are representatives from agencies, community leaders, educators, state and local representatives. People will be coming and going. So we couldn't have a better turnout, so thank you. Our work today is just the beginning of an intentional journey to dream, to collaborate, and to create, to envision how Peoria can create a center for older adults. Every minute of this summit is carefully planned to effectively execute this inaugural vision quest. Your ideas and solutions are welcome. One of my mentors encouraged me to consider making our community center a safe place where older adults can be themselves and not be self-conscious or worry about the changes that happen to us as we age. He also admonished me to make it a brave place where people can grow and explore and figure out what it is that they want to do. So please consider this to be a safe and a brave place for you to share your ideas and we can move forward. Mr. Matt George, a community leader here in Peoria, will now formally open our summit. Ladies and gentlemen, Mr. Matt George.
All right, can you hear me? All right, I'll be loud. So, first of all, this is awesome. I mean, I look around and I can't believe how many people are here. Peggy has poured her heart and soul into this project. I want to just tell a quick story, and it really has to do with Kim Martin and I've Decided. I was speaking at an I've Decided conference 3 years ago, and I remember it was at Weaver Ridge, and we're sitting there, and a lady came up to me, and she said, "I'm a nurse. I have a vision. I have this dream to do what we're all here today to do. And it's to integrate these much needed programs into our community." And as she laid out this vision, I was blown away with somebody who had obviously put a lot of thought into what are the next steps of being able to do this. Now, I will say this. She had some ups and downs. And you do when you're starting a new business. This is no different than a startup, so to speak. So how do you sit there, start a 501c3? How do you sit there in a crowded space in a community where there's a lot of people that do a lot of good, and you're all part of that? And I said, you know what? My mom's a nurse. She was a nurse for 40 years, and I love your passion. And I thought, I think I can help a little. And so she started carving out all of these different ideas, and the whiteboarding, and the lack of confidence at sometimes, and then the confidence sometimes, and then the board members, and then leaning on people, and going to community leaders like Andy Thornton with the Y, and saying, here's what we need. I'm not trying to boot anybody out of a space. What I'm trying to do is to give all an opportunity where there is a void in a lot of programs in this area. So a few months ago, she called and had this idea. And when you do something like this, you never know who's going to show. You never know who's going to show. So, like, I am so pumped right now for her. There's so many great people in this room. My ask to you today, as someone that's been in the nonprofit space for 30 years, is this is needed. So I'm asking everybody, listen intently. Think about how you can make a difference and ride on her coattails of this vision, because she's going to make change. She has the drive to make change, and she has the people behind her to make change. Not just me, but millions of people around here. It is so, I'm so pumped for you. Thank you for having me here today, but I will just say at the end, please contact her afterwards on how you can help. There's people with Graceland all scattered throughout, and see how you too can make change. At Children's Home all those years, I'd always say my personal motto is there isn't a day go by where I don't change lives and save lives. And I say that to all of my team there when I was there. And I truly believe Peggy has that in her heart and in her soul, that she wants to change lives and save lives. So let's give it up for Peggy.
I just want to introduce to you, thank you, Matt. Relationships make everything happen, and that's why we're here today, to help older people get relationships and feel engaged in their community. And there's no better person that can address that than Dr. Joe Babioni. He is a neuropsychologist with, and in the community, and he does, he has a passion for older adults. So I welcome Dr. Joe.
I'm a neuropsychologist. I'm willing to bet 90% of people in here have no idea what that is. So basically, it's a clinical psychologist who goes to school for an extra 2 years to learn about changes that take place after some sort of medical event has affected the brain. So whether that be traumatic brain injury, a stroke, a suspicion of Alzheimer's disease, we give tests that are intended to measure whether or not somebody has truly changed compared to where they're supposed to be for their age. And that helps us decide what their life is going to look in the years ahead and how we help plan and treat for that. So when I see individuals for an evaluation, okay, thanks. My mom always used to say, open your mouth when you speak, you mumble too much. So when I see someone for an evaluation, one of 3 diagnoses can come out of that. One, best case scenario, it's normal age-related changes, and there's no diagnosis. So that's always a great situation. The second type of diagnosis is what we call mild cognitive impairment. So that's where somebody's experiencing very mild changes, but those changes are so mild that we know they're still capable of taking care of themselves in everyday life without assistance from other people. And the third situation is a diagnosis of dementia. And I know that's a term a lot of us have heard, and there's a lot of confusion about that. Basically, when someone's diagnosed with dementia, it means they've experienced changes that are so severe or significant that they now require assistance from other people to take care of them in everyday life. And for all 3 of those situations, when someone comes back for feedback, we come up with individual plans moving forward about how to best address their situation. But for all 3 of those, we always end with the same advice. And families and patients and whoever comes back, they all sit down in a circle, wide-eyed, thinking that I'm about to drop some super secret news on them that they've never heard before about what they should be doing to improve their situation. And I just tell them to live your life. You know, don't be a full-time patient. Spend time with family, stay active, whatever that looks like, and continue moving forward. But that generic recommendation to people of going to live your life, many people don't know where to begin, and in communities such as this, what is even available out there to allow them to do that. People really struggle with downtime, and we see that a lot post-retirement with individuals trying to realize, okay, my day's not decided for me anymore. What should I be doing to continue living a meaningful, healthy life? And so a lot of times the capacity of someone to continue living their life is dependent on the availability of resources within that community to assist them in doing so. And so organizations such as this, when I hear people who can't wait to get the heck out of Peoria as soon as they retire, or they've returned to Peoria after having been away their entire life, and they don't like the way it looks anymore. And you just start hearing fear and lack of opportunity and lack of resources that we've talked many times, this vision of what if Peoria became a place that people would be inspired to move to and stay at, and not feel driven or scared that if they were to stick around, that my life is going to be worse off than if I got the heck out of here as soon as possible when the opportunity arises. But in so many ways, recommendations about what I should be doing, or should I be drinking some special beet juice from South Africa, or should I be getting this many steps a day, should I be doing that? The truth is that most people are getting everything we need in the context of everyday normal interaction and staying active as long as the opportunities are available to do so within the community. And so my hope moving forward for places like this would be that we're just creating more of those opportunities within our immediate community for the aging population, that they can continue staying active and living their lives and having ways and outlets that they can do that without feeling that they don't have the resources or support behind them. When I diagnose someone with dementia, family always asks, what can we do? What can we do? And many times it's, what could we have done? And I don't want to place the blame on individuals for getting dementia, because that's not the case, but the healthier we remain and the more resilient our brains and our bodies become through staying active, the more resilient we will be when unanticipated situations arrive later in life. So having things like this in place to facilitate that are the most important piece of the puzzle that we need to get into place. So I don't have time today to talk specifically about individual family cases, or if you have questions about family members or things like that. But maybe some point in the future we could come up with a specialized talk about Alzheimer's or dementia or things like that, because I know it's a hot topic. So, all right, thank you.
Today we want to introduce you to Graceland Center for Purposeful Aging. It has grown from a dream and an idea to now planning to make a center that welcomes older adults with dignity, grace, and empowerment. Welcome to this summit. This call to action is to gather community stakeholders together to address the gap in wellness services to older adults and to create a culture of aging with dignity, respect, and vitality here in Peoria. When you leave here today, you will take with you one primary idea. Peoria needs a senior center. We must create a desire and a culture for this service while we consider and make the structure of such a center. What do I mean by that? This means that to be successful in the long term, Peoria as a community must create a culture that embraces the need for a center, actively participate in the development, and select carefully how to go about creating the structure for the center that best fits our needs. Supporting our primary mission to create a senior center are three core concepts. All communities, including Peoria, have a growing number of older adults. Social isolation is epidemic and demands attention due to its lethal implications for health. I just listened to a podcast called Jerry Powell Podcast, and they showed that the mortality of people who go home and have no one to help take care of them is almost twice as much as people that do. Those are lethal implications for social isolation. 2, community-based senior centers have a proven impact on their health and well-being of older adults, and therefore their communities. And 3, Peoria has a measurable gap of wellness services for older adults. There are achievable methods to close this gap. The more community agency engagement and support, the sooner and better we will close this gap. Our purpose. Much work has preceded this summit. Our group has completed a thorough community assessment, did a gap analysis, formed a 501c3 to address this problem, and you are here to move this effort forward. Our vision. What happens when you're at the summit of a mountain? You can see for miles around. It's breathtaking and beautiful. We'll pause at this summit to be grateful for the chance to address this huge community need, and then take on the next summit, the next ridge of mountains to climb, to create a culture as structure for aging with vitality in Peoria. Here are the facts. Any new idea must be clearly understood to all persons to envision the next step. I will quickly give you the basic facts and process of our current state. If you leave here with more questions than answers, that is exactly right. We are at the beginning of this process, and we will have to continue to modify, adapt, and create the best path for Peoria. We have to start big somewhere, and this is it. Yes, it's messy and it will be difficult to achieve, but if we work together, we can achieve this center if you support its mission, envision its value, and collaborate to make it a possibility. What is a community-based center? For many persons in Peoria, there is not an understanding of what a center for older adults means. Senior centers were envisioned in 1965 by the Older Adult Act. The Older Adult Act created Medicare, Medicaid, and Social Security. And as part of that act, they made a recommendation that all communities have a senior center for meals, for transportation, for resources, and for socialization. Even in 1965, they recognized that leaving the workplace can be very daunting and leave people without a purpose. There are over 10,000 senior centers across the United States, and over 1.1 million people get served every day. I think the real question here is why not, and why do we not already have one? I don't have the answer as to why we don't already have one, but we do have many reasons to make one now. The primary elephant in the room is the social and psychological tendency to view aging as negatively. Ageism and disconnection from real issues as we age is real and must be addressed to move forward in a positive direction. American culture celebrates youth. We target youth programs, but we leave older adults out of the social equation. True fact. There are probably a host of reasons why Peoria, as the 8th largest city in Illinois and of the top 10, we are the only city that doesn't have a senior center. Let that fact sit in. So at this point, the elephant is discovered and it's time to move forward, and we're going to do it now. We celebrate birthdays. We believe that aging is a gift not afforded to all, sadly. Rather than despise the inevitable, we choose to embrace aging and its multifaceted gifts and opportunities. Life is a precious gift, and every stage has its challenges and its victories. All of us know that we are living longer, and rather than being a financial burden, as some would perceive the aging population, research actually shows that older adults contribute huge contributions to the financial health of communities. And research clearly shows that wellness services yield a tremendous result to the overall well-being of communities. Health span, I don't know how many of you have heard that word before. Health span versus lifespan. The greatest accomplishment we've achieved in the past 100 years is not our technical advances. It is the fact that we are now living twice as long as we used to. Ponder that. We didn't have the opportunity to address aging issues because we didn't live that long. We need to create a longer time from retirement to disability to create a longer health span in our lifespan. Take this statistic in. 30% of Peoria's population is over the age of 50. With 110,000 as a rough population, that is about 3,300 people. Imagine the impact of the wellness programming could do to improve the overall health of Peoria. envision how healthier lives as we age would not only benefit ourselves, our families, and our medical and social services. Social determinants of health are markers to help focus our efforts toward overall health. We have finally learned that all parts of our lives affect health. Public health and medical systems now know that health cannot be achieved unless all facets of health are addressed. Social isolation and social connections are a critical element of psychological well-being. To know that a person is of value to others and part of a larger community promotes mental, physical, and emotional health. We know the detrimental effects of social isolation. COVID brought that front and center to everyone's attention. In fact, there is a new diagnosis category that outlines social determinant issues of health to help guide medical and social services. There is now a billable and identifiable medical diagnosis for loneliness. Many persons live alone, have families and friends who have moved away, have lost spouses, or have become burdened with caregiving. They have become disconnected from and are no longer part of work, social clubs, churches, or volunteering. We must take this opportunity to turn this deterioration around. To our second point, senior centers have proven results. Today, we will enjoy 4 brief presentations of community centers that are here locally, and they're going to tell us the impact of on their participants, their families, and their communities. You have slides of the incredible return on investment in your packet. Locally, Pekin and Springfield have centers that were created for their communities through donations and various funding resources, including United Way and the Agency on Aging. According to the National Council of Aging Senior Center Fact Sheet, most senior centers are funded through an average of 8 funding resources. So we'll keep that in mind. We have to have a mixture of funding. Bloomington Normal has a beautiful center funded through their Township Supervisor Office along with United Way and grants. Galesburg, Kewanee, Canton, Alton also have senior centers. Leroy and Macomb have centers, and Humana hosts a neighborhood center that also offers opportunities for the general public. And they'll tell their story today. The return on investment for individuals, families, and communities from having a resource and relationship hub is endless. Imagine the community stability we'll have when 50-year-olds can get ready access to help in caring for their aging parents while they are still parenting their growing children. When 60-year-olds have resources to understand the implications of retirement and plan ahead for those life changes and not feel disconnected or without purpose. When 70-year-olds feel valued as a person and want to take care of themselves and go out and exercise. When 80-year-olds go and explore new adventures and excited to learn new skills. And when 90-year-olds still feel important, not just for their advanced age, but they have a group of friends that very value them as a person. The ripple effect of addressing the 30% of our population are immense. To our third point, Peoria has a huge opportunity to bridge the gap of services related to socialization, easy access to resources, and opportunities to age with vitality. To be clear, there are no centers or agencies offering this. There is no duplication because there's nothing to duplicate. Any service provided currently is wonderful. They certainly are meaningful and supportive. However, there still remains a gap that could be provided by such a center. There are thousands of examples, and I think every one of you could tell a story of how someone gave up, tried to climb the matrix of all the social services and medical craziness we put people through and give up. True, correct? A senior center would not recreate current services, but help people access them and create a drop-in center to build relationships, build community, and social support. I repeat, there is no one-stop shop for resources and relationships. I have seen these in action in Pekin, Springfield, and Normal, and it is imperative that we develop such a resource here in Peoria. Peoria is unique. The community needs to figure out how these services can best be created for our needs. Honestly, as an entrepreneur, and one of my mentors is sitting right here looking at me, you know, you want to just take out $1 million loan and start one and let it, you know, when you build it, it will come. So it's hard because you think you know the right answer. But guess what? I'm one person out of 110,000 people. I don't have the answer. The community has the answer. And that's why we all have to have all hands on deck to do it right. Our story. Stories are important. They are the foundation of how humans relate to each other. Our story, briefly. I'm married to a family practice physician, have 3 adult children, and I work full-time as an RN here in Peoria. This is my side gig. I didn't know about that. So you hang out with entrepreneurs, and then they have a lot of side gigs. My kids call me the elder whisperer, which makes me want to cry. Last night I started laughing. I thought, maybe I need to be the elder shouter. My husband would ask for that. He gets aggravated with me. To learn how I could help older adults, I completed a healthcare gerontology course out of the University of Phoenix. And part of that certification process, we had to do a needs analysis and a community assessment and identify a gap of services. I discovered the absence of a senior center here in Peoria. Even though I have my master's in community health, have made more home visits than I could even tell you, I did not realize this huge absence of a community resource. So I got to work, was divinely provided with mentors that I will acknowledge, gathered a band of faithful followers, and now it's the rest of the story. For the time being, I have no conflicts of interest. We are completely independent and solely funded by grants and donations. We gratefully acknowledge our sponsors today, the Community Foundation of Central Illinois and Health Alliance, for their generous underwriting of this program, and also Senior Care Network of the Heart of Illinois and Silvera Health for their financial support. Why the name Graceland? We want to create an environment of grace, respect, and dignity for aging and the aging process. Why purposeful? All persons live to their fullest when they have purpose, relevance, and can contribute to the well-being of themselves and others. Having a life purpose is a universal human need. I recently spoke to a 70-year-old who was forced to retire due to health. That person drew a line on a paper and said, "This is my life. I am an educator. It is who I am." He stopped that line and looked up at me and said, "Now, who am I?" A center could help that person rediscover and find new ways to relate and to find a purpose. Otherwise, where are they going to go for comfort and guidance? Our sense of purpose is extremely important to all of us. This is a favorite quote of mine. We are each faced with various challenges of our times, and it is such a time as this that we are called forth to do what is right and within our power to change. That is why you are here today. A special acknowledgement to my board of directors who have stood the test of time and endurance and kneeling and helping me. A grateful acknowledgement of the mentors who helped make this effort come to fruition, and you are in this room. Thank you to the volunteers who are present here today to make our event successful, and to the staff of First Federated Church for making things so nice. Thank you to our table facilitators who are serving at our tables. They will help capture your ideas and suggestions. Please note I made an error on the list. Brittany Bryant is with the Peoria Housing Authority. Purpose, vision, and values. Graceland Center has a clear purpose, vision, and purpose values, all established to promote our mission to enhance the lives of older adults. You have all this information in your packet. What's our target population? Graceland Center will target adults age 50 and older who are seeking a creative, proactive way to enhance their lives. Members will need to be able to participate independently in programming. There will not be a financial barrier. All persons are going to be encouraged to participate. The financial model of having memberships, scholarships, will all need to be determined. The center should be open daily during the week, and then weekending as we can please. And I smile about that because I visited some centers in Chicago and they had a whole wall of crystal. And I said, you know, just odds and ends of glassware. And I said, "What's that for?" And she said, "Well, that's our BYOB night." I said, oh, okay. They have concerts, and I thought that was great. So we better have that wall too, huh?
Right.
Intergenerational examples. There is solid evidence valuing intergenerational relationships and programming. Inclusion of intergenerational relationships is a must in our future programming. Co-Generate, which was originally Encore, has taken this concept to the next level and is doing incredible work through community partnerships. I urge you to look them up online. Beautiful programming. Some current wellness centers or wellness services are only available to persons who have Medicare supplemental policies that they pay for and they can utilize, such as Silver Sneakers programs. Other programming available through the Park District, ICC, the library, and Bradley may not be well known to some people. In fact, coming to a senior center would increase participation in these programs because people would be more aware, they'd have information about how to access them, and even find a friend to go with them. Programming would need to be tailored to those persons who engage in services, and those programs would need to recognize the unique interests and background of the individuals we're working with their developmental needs of the aging journey across several generations. Think of that. We have generations from 50 to 100. So they certainly have similar interests, but different needs and interests as well. Where? The number one question. We are in the discovery era of where and determine where to get started. Certainly it must be ADA compliant and easily accessible and on a bus line. Structure will follow culture that supports such a center. A culture that respects aging and encourages aging with vitality. Remember, culture before structure. We have to change our attitudes. And if we change the culture, we will make it true. If we build it, they will come. When? We have a flexible strategic plan with key outcomes for the next 6 years as we grow organically and as Peoria will support it. Currently, we are doing monthly Graceland gatherings at local facilities, churches, etc. to get the word out. We do a short informational session about what Graceland Center is, and then we do a fun interactional program that targets either emotional, physical, or spiritual health. We plan to continue doing Graceland gatherings and plan to keep moving forward and hopefully start by 2024 with a stable schedule. We will be intentional and steady in our growth and take select opportunities to grow. How? Overall, grit. I didn't know the name of what that meant, but I do now.
Oh, you do.
With faith, perseverance, and collaboration and goodwill, and with some leadership concepts from a leader who I admire. Strong backs to do the work, soft fronts to deal with the needs with compassion, and wild hearts to chase the passion and dream to enhance the lives of older adults. So let's do a quick fact check. What? Peoria needs a community-based center for older adults. Why? To create a culture that promotes the vitality of Peoria's older adults and the community at large. Who? Focused on the older adults over the age of 50. Where? Structure to be determined as Peoria supports this effort. When? Start small, as we currently are doing with Graceland gatherings, and continue to grow organically. How? With community collaboration, which is why you came
With
today.
your help, please.
So, what's our call to action? To recap, Peoria needs a senior center. Number one, we have to have one to address the needs of our aging population and social isolation. Underline, to address social isolation. Community-based centers are a proven method to promote vitality with aging, and Peoria has a gap in these services, which makes creating a center a logical solution. Here's our depiction of what Peoria's Visionary Senior Center will encompass. Of course, Graceland will not provide everything. Its primary purpose will be to promote socialization, appreciation of people for who they are, and guidance to access services and programming that is not provided elsewhere. Or like some services that people can't access, like Silver Sneakers, unless they pay for that program. Now, let's move from our Visionary Center, if Alicia and Carol want to come forward. to talk about their senior centers. Alicia Dalt from Pekin and Carol Harms from Senior Services of Central Illinois will tell us how vital their centers are to their communities. The goal of having, thank you. I'll just take them. The goal of having them come, and Alicia, you're up first, is to help you see that this is a real deal. I'll move your slides for you.
Okay, can you hear me? Never been a problem. Thank you for having me. Doing amazing. This is awesome. So my name's Alicia. I am the administrator at the Miller Center in Pekin, and I'm excited to be here. This is a passion of mine that we share, right? I have been at the Miller Center in some capacity since '04, whether it was through volunteering or sponsorships, or now, since 2015 as the administrator. And I could talk for days about the Miller Center, and I won't today, but I want you to know how much I love the Miller Center. So, and I'm going to throw you off a little bit, Peggy. You don't even have to be down there because, unless you want to, but I'm here today to talk about the importance that Miller Center brings to the Pekin and the surrounding communities. So you've got a packet, right? You've got the slides. That's the Miller Center right there. You got to come and see us. Come check us out in Pekin. We are right across from the lagoon, if you're familiar, and if you're not, you'll find the lagoon, and we're right there. Perfect spot. And in the packet, it's going to talk about the history, the programming, some funding and partnerships. You can all check into that. Ask me questions later. Happy to talk more about that. But I want to talk to you more about the importance. First of all, Miller Center has been serving the 50-plus community for over 40 years. We celebrated our 40th birthday last year. It was really fun and exciting. Pekin is currently a town of 33,000. 33,000. If you remember, and I don't remember the exact number of Peoria, but it was 110-ish? And Pekin is 33,000. We have a population over 50 of 36%. Miller Center is part of the Pekin Park District, and we offer over 60 programs, activities, and services. On average, in a month's time, we'll see 1,500-ish people. That's not including our transportation, and that we serve on average 575 rides monthly. Transportation is huge, as many of you know, and we take pride in our transportation service that we offer. We're taking people to doctors, dialysis, therapies, grocery store, beauty shops. That's so important. All the places that they want to go, we're helping them to keep independent in their homes. So. It's kind of the rundown of Miller Center. You've got the packet there, and I don't have much time, and I know this, so what really showcases the Miller Center is the people and the stories, and I wish I could just capture that in a bottle and share it with you all, and I'm going to do my very best. So I want to tell you about Pat. Pat was a full-time caregiver to her husband. He eventually needed more care and moved into a nursing home, and so she had more time on her hands. She didn't realize how much caring and effort it was taking to be a caregiver at home. She saw a newsletter, which you've also got one of our newsletters in the packet. We do 650 printed every month, and they go out by email as well. So she saw a newsletter in the community, and she saw a class called Annie's Exercise Class. She goes, that sounds good. I'm going to try that one, right? So not long after coming to Annie's Exercise, coming to Miller Center, her husband did end up passing away. And Pat leaned on her Miller Center friends through her grief. And she continued exercising with Annie and the core group, Monday, Wednesday, Friday, regularly. After that, she started volunteering and attending more and more activities, and I'm going to tell you, Pat is so involved today, so much so that I hired her as my part-time receptionist. She works 4 days a week. She's still exercising. She's got a core group of friends at Miller Center that they'll meet at Miller Center, and they'll go dine out wherever, or maybe they'll eat at Miller Center. They go out and do fun activities, and they're just enjoying life together. Pat, I asked her, tell me about Miller Center for you. What does it mean? And she says, I don't know what I would do without the Miller Center. I have made so many friends. I just love it here. We have such a good time. And I asked her, I'm like, well, what if you didn't find the Miller Center, what would you be doing? And she goes, I don't really know. She goes, maybe pickleball, maybe. But she didn't really know like where she would go or and gather with her friends. After losing a loved one, your world shakes up and you've got to land somewhere. And it's scary to walk into an unfamiliar place, but we have so many stories like Pat's, where people have found new connections at Miller Center, and oftentimes will say, I wish I would have come here sooner. Why, what was I waiting for? That word senior kind of stops us sometimes. We're like, oh, that's not me. I mean, I've heard the 80-year-olds say, I'm not a senior, I'm not old enough, right? And then I hear people say how they wish they would have known about Miller Center sooner. So I'm wrapping up, I promise. In many ways, Miller Center becomes a lifeline for people. Again, the importance of a senior center. And of course, we're all creatures of habit. And when a regular participant may not show up for a day or 2 days or whatever, something not out of their routine, you better believe we are calling them, or I've even knocked on doors to say, are you okay? We might be that one touch, that one check on. And that's not only for the attendees that come into the Miller Center, but it's also with our riders and the transportation service. And in fact, one lady who was using our service regularly for grocery shopping and whatnot, and family all lives out of town, like far out of town, out of state. We know this about her. And just a side note, my drivers, they get to know the riders very well, as and their habits and whatnot. And one of them was passing her house one day on another pickup and says, that garage door is open, and that is not normal. He calls us, we call her, and she doesn't answer. So we call her emergency contact, who is a neighbor. She went over and found her on the floor. So how long could she have been laying there without someone checking on her, right? So that's the importance of the senior center, is the connections, and luckily she's okay. I want to let you know that she's fine, she's good, she's still in her home. So it's a good ending, but sometimes it's not, and that's scary. Miller Center is often like family, and we're looking out for each other. So these are just a couple of examples of how impactful Miller Center is to the community. We are so much more than a drop-in center. We're connections, we're education, we're resources and referrals, we're support, we're family. We're a place where, and our tagline is, enjoy your age, whatever age that is. And so that's our tagline. And they can do this by aging gracefully together. And I hope, and I know actually, I don't have to hope this, I know that one day very, very soon, Peoria is going to have their very own Miller Center, like Miller Center, and it's through Graceland and through Peggy and her efforts and all of you here. So thank you for letting me talk about Miller Center. I could talk for days, but I appreciate your time.
Hi, I'm Carol Harms with Senior Services of Central Illinois. I honestly really don't have anything to say anymore because Peggy and Alicia took care of all that. So ditto, we do the same things as the Miller Center. I'm really excited though to be here. One, because I want to talk about how excited I am for Peoria. I know that Springfield could not do what we do without, those are our parties, without the support of the city, the county, the state. So I really just kind of wanted to give you a little bit of history. We have been actively with the center for 56 years. After the Older Americans Act passed in 1965, the Sangamon County's first senior center was opened in 1967. The city city council actually worked with us and said, hey, we want to support you, and actually allocated $300,000 to actually build a city, a center for us. So we're actually on Park District property. We are owned by the city, and we pay nothing for that building. And that has been since 1975. We would not be able to do that without the city. We serve over 26,000 individuals every year. Our center is open Monday through Friday, 8 to 5. We have individuals that come into our center at 8 o'clock and they stay until after lunch. We have individuals who come in at lunch and stay until 5. They are not just sitting there playing bingo every day, even though bingo is really popular, by the way. We have bingo size. We have exercise equipment. We have pool tables. We have dance classes. We have exercise classes. We have connections for these individuals. We have trips and travels. Just sometimes it's having that person, just like Alicia said, when you have that individual who is being thrust into this world sometimes as a caregiver, and they may not have that connection that they need, or they need that support. We want to make sure that every person, whether it be the caregiver of their loved one who is the senior, or it's the senior themselves, that they are being treated with dignity and respect. They can come in, they can have a meal. I say to people all the time, can you drive? Can you get up every day? Can you get in your car? Can you go where you want to go? A lot of the seniors that we have, they can't do that. They need that transportation. They need that center. They need to be able to have a connection to say, where do I go to get the information? And whether, I always tell everybody, go talk to Sherman. Sherman's our person. But it really is a matter. We have 85 employees at Senior Services of Central Illinois. Again, we serve around 26,000 individuals. But these are some of the pictures that you're seeing. Through Illinois Senior Olympics, we cover that. So please bring individuals around for that. If you're 50 years of age and older, we have bingo size. We have a program that we get support through the state. We get a lot of our funding through the Illinois Department on Aging. Our area agency on aging is very big to help us. Our United Way. All of these things are only possible because of the community who is supporting us. So I cannot say enough about, if you get behind this, you will flourish and you will see such success. We have the same stories where we have people that say, I don't know what I would do every day. We have volunteers that come in and they deliver our meals to our seniors on a regular basis. Our daily bread programs, where we have individuals who we're the only point of contact that they see when they're homebound. We're the only person that sees this individual who goes to their dialysis appointment when we're transporting them. We're the only person that they come to when they want to develop a Bible study or have an activity. Barb Hipsher, who's here today, she's really honestly the person that should be talking. She is our activities and program. We have connections with individuals through our tip-top tappers, our silver steppers. We have so many different programs, but also things that are in the realm of legal aid. We have the Land of Lincoln Legal Aid that comes and helps our seniors out with legal situations. We have tax aid through AARP who come. It's not just a place where you come and sit. It's a connection to your world outside in that community. Blood pressure, we have blood pressure checks. We have a caregiver support system where we actually have an association, an Alzheimer's association, who comes in and helps our seniors. We do trips and travels. We have a 14 capacity bus, and sometimes our seniors are like, hey, we want to go to the movies. Our trips and travel coordinators like, okay, let's go. And so they plan those things. The whole idea is, Peoria, you can do this. We did it. They did it. I just get the joy of having the opportunity to be a part of it now. But of so many different things. Social isolation is key. More and more seniors are getting there. I'm going to be 53. When you said 50, I was like, oh, wow, okay, yeah. But it's true. And I want to be able to have these kind of things in the community. I want to be connected. And I know that there are so many others that do. Aging Mastery is a program that's a really cool program. It's a 10-week program that you can go through, and you can actually talk about how do you age well. So we do all different kinds of programs on matter of balance and so many different things. So if you're interested and ever want to come down and visit and participate, please come, check us out, and hopefully you can just ripple right along, and we'll give you anything you need from us to share that and to have a success. So we wish you the best.
we wanted to have these explanations for you because sometimes when you don't have an example in your mind, it might be hard. But hopefully by now you're getting an idea of what some of these centers look like. And go visit them. Your socks will get rocked off. I want to introduce Melissa Jones. She's from Leroy, and her boss, Barb Whitman, bought herself a Casey's store in Leroy, Illinois, and made herself a senior center. And Melissa's the administrator now. So you have a packet of all of her information in your packet, as well as Humana, and I don't think I have Cindy's stuff in there though. Okay.
Thank you. Thanks for having me. Like she said, I am the administrator at Living Well United. We're in Leroy, Illinois. For those of you that have never heard of Leroy, I'm not surprised. We are a town of 3,500 people, and we service 4 other communities that are anywhere from around 800 people to 1,000 people. Barb started Living Well United. She was a volunteer fitness instructor at a local gym in Leroy and really saw the need that Eastern McLean County really doesn't have a ton of resources. We're very lucky to have Bloomington Normal in McLean County. They have a wealth of resources available, but in terms of getting those out to the rural communities, there really wasn't a resource. So Barb set her intention to start a senior center. She actually drove by a Casey's that was no longer, it was just a building, and kept calling and calling and calling and calling, and finally they gave it to her, which is awesome. So that is where our senior center is. I go along with, what everyone else said, but our senior center is a little unique in that it's for seniors run by seniors. So all of our volunteers and all of our board members are seniors that benefit from the senior center, which is amazing. I think when seniors are contributing, everybody wins. They have a wealth of skills and knowledge and wisdom that they can impart on the community that we can learn and grow from, and that's what's happening at Living Well. I could go on and on about what Living Well does for the seniors in Eastern McLean County, but I brought some little testimonials that I thought I would read just so that you could really hear from them firsthand about what Living Well means to them. So, I've been going to the LWU Senior Center since it opened in July of 2020. Being 84, the center has kept me motivated to get out of the house, to keep physically active and laughing. The presentations cover so many areas: health, financial, pre-funeral planning, fraud and scams, history, crafting, and more. The center is a great place to meet new people, socialize, join in fun activities, cards, bingos, and to volunteer. Another said, the Living Well United Center has been a godsend to me. Being a widow, it gives me a place to go where I can visit with friends and make new friends. We are gaining new people who are finding out about it, and we are now coming and really enjoying it. Every chance I get, I push to tell others what they are truly missing out on by not attending. It is truly a blessing for our community. Another said, one of the benefits of the senior center is the ability to interact with one another. I feel isolation is one of the problems seniors encounter, and the center gives them opportunity to get out and mingle with their peers. I also had another one. This is just, I told her I'd add it in today. We have technology classes at the center, so that's, iPads, Androids, iPhones, computers, all that sort of stuff. And she came into the center and she had just taken an Android class, and she jumped up and was like, I sent a photo to my grandma, and we were all like, yay! To my granddaughter, and we were all like, yay, you did it! So just by creating those educations, they're going and they're communicating with their family, and they're reducing that isolation. And then also they're giving back to their community as well, which is really super special. From January of 2020 to 2021, or from July of 2020 to 2021, we served 340 different seniors with a total of 2,229 visits. And then the following year, we served 228 different seniors with a total of 3,491 visits, which I know that seems small in a big community like Peoria, but for the small towns that we were serving, those are huge numbers, and I know Peoria can do the same. Barb was one person with a vision who made it happen, and we're continuing to grow and learn, and similar to Peggy, I think it would just be such a great resource for your community. So thank you.
All right, we're ready to kind of wind things down. I know a lot of you have 1 o'clock appointments. Table leaders, in your packet is a blue bannered commitment sheet. If you could take a look for that and make sure everybody at your, that would be great. I want to leave you with a quote because I feel like this is probably the most what we're trying to say here completely. And a wise friend shared this with me. At the end of life, what really matters is not what we built or what we got, but what we shared. Not our competence, but our character. Not our successes, but our significance. And so that's our mission, to enhance the lives of older adults because everyone wins. And so life is short. I think we've learned that in the past few years, tragically short. So I just want to thank you for coming and to let you know, I like to close my sessions out with, the light in me honors the divine and beautiful light in each of you. I wish you peace, love, hope, and most of all, grace. Matt George will close us out, and we'll be here afterwards to chat and do whatever you'd like. I did have a couple people ask me about the media, and I just wanted to let you know we contacted them full throttle. If you look up aging, you will see, what do you see on TV about aging? Medications, disability, etc. Unless you take some diabetic meds, right? And then you're going to be saved. I'm a diabetic educator. It's so aggravating because it's not celebrating aging. So if y'all see anybody with the media, you can encourage them because we need to change a culture, and our media is a huge piece of that. When we honor all people in all ages of life, then everyone wins. So anyway, so Matt?
Let's give Peggy a round of applause. Until she just brought up media, I wasn't going to say anything, but I think I will. You know, it's community leaders like Sharon Adams, and I see Linda Miracle here today, and a lot of other CEOs, and Andy Thornton. And, you know, we need to use our collective power within who we are and what we do in this community to keep rising above everything that's going on. And so, appreciate Andre Allen coming in, very busy man. Scott Sorrell, thank you. But it's also people like Frank Abnauer was here. He helped on early on, and really all of the board members, the volunteers. I'll say this. Phil Lockwood said it best. Sometimes you have to get the community involved and bought in before others really want to participate, others being corporations, others being, you name it, sponsors and so on. Just to tell you just a very quick story, there was a time I was raising $1 million, and I had someone I made a big ask to for $200,000, and they said, you raised the first 8, I'll give you the 2. And so the first 8 was the public, and they gave it. The last 200,000 was easy to get. We can do this. We have a lot of power in this room. Let's use our wherewithal, the pull that we have. I usually don't talk like this bluntly, but this is needed. So I appreciate spreading the word. We didn't talk about this, but I'm gonna have you do something. I would like for everyone to receive a follow-up thank you email with some of the bullet points here that people like Andre and Scott and so on could forward to their colleagues within the city. And we all, with our contacts, are going to be able to make Peggy's vision a dream. So thank you for coming today. Drive safe and have a great rest of your day. Thank you. Good job. Good job. Proud of you.
Thank you, everybody. Could you hit the lights, please? Thank you for coming. I'll be around if you have